We've been asked the question if we are artists or architects or activists many times, and I think for us it doesn't really matter. We're 9 partners working for the last 15 years, mostly in, we could say, activation of public space, but also in art installations and social-related projects.
They met in 1989 in Berlin when the wall came down. So the project Raumlaborberlin is doing, at its root, it engages ideas around home, neighborhoods, and cities, and how they are built, sustained, and transformed through time.
Pulitzer was founded in the city. We're at a crossroads between a lot of different neighborhoods, and we take that very seriously. We consider ourselves a part of the fabric of the city, a neighbor, a resident. And it's important for us to consider how we work within our community.
First thing we thought, St. Louis is just an American city. But then when we first came here, we found out that it was very different. In some sense, it was much more, I would say, beautiful, or pretty, green. Then there's this divide and the emptiness. It was big influence on the process.
So we were directed to Enright through our friends of the neighborhood group.
The neighborhood is located Delmar on the south, Martin Luther King on the north, Newstead on the east, and Walton on the west. We are absolutely located in an area that's considered the Delmar Divide. It's just this lack of investment in our community and the redlining and just a number of those really ugly things that impact our lives in North St. Louis.
And then we started asking those neighbors questions. What is their relationship to the house? Would they want us to take it down?
So we looked at houses throughout the neighborhood together. So there were 2 on Enright, and actually the Enright neighbors themselves selected the actual house to be chosen between the 2.
To get everybody involved, I think that was an excellent way of doing it. Everybody opinions and about what we saw, the vision for the project.
I think the neighborhood was very accommodating, very happy to have some attention and focus brought to the neighborhood and to the issue of some of the problems with vacant buildings and what they cause in neighborhoods. Presently, the city of St. Louis has about 7,000 vacant buildings in its inventory. Out of that number, there's around 3,000 that are condemned in that they really should be coming down. They're dangerous.
There was already some neighbors that have been organized and that we could meet and in some people's living room and discuss what their problems in their neighborhood was.
So what you see in this house, which I think is really special, is that it really becomes this microcosm of so many things that are important to American history. Early European immigrants coming in, building up the city, industrialization in the city and in the country and how it affects people, and then also looking at segregation and housing policies through the 20th century and how that affects where we are today.
We were thinking, well, how can we bring everyday life into an institution like this, which is a very kind of contained, kind of holy art space. From there, we extracted this idea to actually take one of these houses, reconstruct it in the gallery, and almost slice it open in different kind of layers, like a surgeon or like a scientist, and try to have different perspectives on that. We called that simulacrum. These houses would exist in the same time in 2 different places. Somehow it's like removing the soul of someone and putting it next to the shell or something.
As you enter the house, you'll be confronted with what is much more like a period room from the late 19th century when the house was built.
And then the center room, which is the original dining room, we tried to really reconstruct in a way that we found it in the house with all the, I would say like all the destroyed furniture, things that have been left behind, things that have been stored there by other people. And so we found a lot of things there, and we made a very precise quotation, and we reconstructed that.
And you'll also see what looks like an architecture studio with drawings and a table and chairs. And so you'll start to see there really is a character or someone that has been inhabiting this home. Are they deconstructing it? Are they reconstructing it? Are they thinking about new ways to live? Why bring a house inside the Pulitzer? These abandoned or vacant, crumbling, ruined homes that are in our neighborhoods, we become used to them. By bringing this house into the gallery, we can frame that as a series of questions.
It's an opportunity for us to re-envision our history, the city's history, our present, and where we're headed in the future.
We have somewhat of a neutral space to do that, where we can bring together city leaders, artists, people from the neighborhood, urbanists, historians, scholars, together in a space to think about these things in new ways, because if we're not bridging these expertises and backgrounds, we're not going to move forward together.
My hope is that people come, look at the exhibition, and walk away thinking more deeply about the city we're living in, the country we're living in, and the issues that are at play, and how we can all participate.
Taking apart a house and doing this kind of surgery of layers, it reveals things that they're not expect, you don't know. You find people's letters in boxes in that house with some kind of poems inside. It's something between material and immaterial.
Home is a place of comfort and peace. It represents, development of a family and unity.
The neighborhood is only as good as the neighbors who live here. And then when you have neighbors who care about each other. I know my neighbor here said, "Oh, I didn't see your car move today. Are you okay?" That's a good neighbor.
A house is just a house unless you make it a home. Now, over here is home to me.
It's a shelter. It's your spot on earth that you take care of.
Because of this process, I heard myself saying that a house has a soul, which I normally wouldn't say.
This house has been abandoned for 20-some years, and now you're able to put something back here to make the neighborhood vibe again.
That's what we try to bring in, is we try to create spaces of imagination, that create a new kind of perspective on it.